everyone, I'm Victoria Wiltshire and this is Songtradr Happy Hour. Hello to our audience, thanks for joining. If you have any questions you'd like our panelists to answer, get them into the Zoom and Facebook Live chat windows at any time through the session and we'll get to as many as we can around the 40-minute mark. Now, let's meet our panel. She is an LA native who's been in the music supervision business for over a decade. The Cal State grad has worked on scores of shows like Avenue 5 on HBO, Amazon's Utopia, and The Twilight Zone on CBS. And with such filmmakers as Amy Lippman, Jordan Peele, and Spike Lee, plus many, many more. She's been recognized as one of the industry's best, receiving nominations from Emmy Honors for HBO's Hemingway and Gellhorn, multiple Guild of Music Supervisors Awards, and this year's Imagen, I actually looked it up, Imagen Awards. Yes. Woohoo! Today she joins us on Happy Hour. We're so pleased to welcome Janet Lopez. Hello, Janet.
Oh, thank you. I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. I'm so glad you're here. Next up on our panel is a New Yorker, born and raised, who has worked in the music industry for over 15 years. Her roles have encompassed business development, A&R, artist and label relations, and more. Collaborations include working with John Legend on his label, notably launching Grammy-winning artist Estelle and Grammy-nominated songwriters and producers behind names like Rihanna, Kelly Clarkson, Ariana Grande, and Panic at the Disco. Signings include Mark Ronson and Ludacris. She's the founder of music management and consultancy company Max, named after her son, who we're just talking about, who might interrupt us. Excited to welcome Amanda Schupf. Hi, Amanda.
Hey, everybody. Happy Thursday.
That's it, isn't it? Well, so we're really glad that both of you are here, and you're both, I think, shining examples of powerful women in the industry, and both mothers as well. In fact, we're all mothers, right? So, God, that's one of the biggest jobs of all. So today, our topic is the power of women in music, and the main objective for us today is to draw on both of your experiences so that we can provide some helpful advice for others, maybe not just females, who are trying to get a foothold in the industry. So, Janet, maybe we can start with you. Do you want to give us some highlights of your career path?
Well, my career path started very early, at a young age. I wanted to be a music supervisor, and I didn't know what it was, and I became sort of obsessed with the question, and then went for it. I needed to feel like I needed to educate myself in all areas, anything that touched music supervision, whether it was, great artists that are signed to a major label, to indie, to writer splits, to how California copyright law works. And that I know still it's anyone's guess, but the involvement of that and not turning away from the business of it, I think, was just as important as the creative. So I was very open-minded and very, very hungry at a very early age. And then once I knew what music supervision was, made it 100% my ambition to surround myself by the best music supervisors and those that are making the kind of content that I really long to make myself one day. And it happened. So I now work at Neophonic, which it's a fantastic music supervision company in Los Angeles and among one of the best. And I've been there it'll be 14 years actually, later this month. But I've learned so much in that time, and from the best, I'm very proud to say. So in the course of my learning, and as I aged as a music professional in this career, I think I've kind of honed in on music supervision skills and what it's like to work with a small group of people within my company and various studios. So
yeah, awesome. Well, happy anniversary for next month.
Thanks.
And you're a bit fuller now, I'm assuming. Are you still hungry?
Very.
Are you still hungry?
How can you not? I think that if we're going to stay positive and stay encouraged in what it is that we do, we should always be hungry for it.
Yeah, good. All right. Keep eating, keep being hungry. Good. How about you, Amanda? A little bit of a story arc from you perhaps?
I mean, I think I took a very twisted road to get here. I don't think I ever knew early that I wanted to be in the music industry. I knew I liked music. I was a DJ in college. I DJed a little bit after college. I went to get my master's at NYU in music technology, not because I thought I would end up in a recording studio, but because I thought I could be just like Missy Elliott and make beats. So little did I know that that is not what I was getting into, but from getting that degree, I did work in recording studios. That's how I got to know John Legend a little bit, and other creatives in the industry that I still work with today. And working with him at his record label and launching Estelle was sort of my first experience within a music company. And even that I wouldn't say was like a proper music company, because as some of you may come to find out or have had experience with, doing artist-owned labels at early stages is more like a startup where everyone's wearing multiple hats. So in that respect, it was great. And I learned a little bit about everything. I then found myself in music publishing, which I did for about 15 years, and I still do on the consulting side. And I really fell in love with that. And with working with songwriters and producers and people behind the scenes. I absolutely love that. And that's what led, I think, to me having my management be focused on songwriters and producers, although I do work with artists as well. I really still am like a studio rat, like the studio, like the process, and like working with people behind the scenes and helping them achieve their goals.
Okay, that's awesome. How many hats do you have now?
Countless. You want me to dive in? Yeah, I mean, but like you were saying, I agree. Like, I love the business just as much as I love the creative, and I don't shy away from it. And I think it's really important to educate as a creative, like as a music supervisor, you're being creative. You're providing music for visuals, which is a highly creative thing to do, but also knowing all the laws and knowing all the business and being able to negotiate the deals, I think is extremely important. And I always encourage my clients to also know their own business and read their own deals and be involved in all of their negotiations, even if they have teams of managers and lawyers and other executives around them, because they really are, this is a common thing people say, you're like the CEO of your own business, whatever you do. So you should really be knowing all your business. And I've spent a lot of time learning that. And I've been lucky to have mentors who have been able to guide me, on the creative and the business side.
Yeah, that's really good advice. And something that I want to touch on just briefly before we get into some of the other nuances is that do either of you want to weigh in on the ratio of males to females? And hopefully we're all looking at people in the industry based on their own merit, but there is a bit of a gap still. So I don't know, do you guys want to jump in and give us some of your thoughts?
I mean, I can start. I mean, I think in music publishing, you see less of a gap. There's definitely more female executives across the music publishing space. In management, there's a large gap. And from where I sit in my day-to-day business, the biggest gap by far is at record labels, not only in terms of women, but minorities and especially women in very high level roles. The C level roles are very, very few women. I don't know why that is. It is not because women are not as, if not more capable, but it seems to be a pattern that unfortunately I've seen continuing over as you see all these new announcements of people getting all these promotions at various different companies. I would say like 2 to 10 is a male over a female.
Yeah, I actually looked up some stats on a website that's Women in Hollywood. It said that women accounted for 31% of music supervisors and 82% of films had no female music supervisors. Janet, what do you think of that?
I think it's an interesting statistic. in Los Angeles and in the Guild, I think that I wouldn't know exactly what our ratio is, but I do feel like there's a healthy competition between men and women. I think that the ratio is maybe not balanced, but not unfair, in my opinion. I do feel like there is a good representation of women in music supervision. But I don't know if that is something that I've experienced in the past 10 years, or if that's been, I don't think that was true 25 years ago. So there is a growing trend in accepting women as a professional music supervisor and seeing the value and the quality of our work in this field.
Yeah, so just on that, what qualities do you think make a music supervisor? Do you a good quality music supervisor? Do you have like really good ears or something?
Yeah, hopefully.
Golden ears. You have golden ears.
I think that there are several qualities in a music supervisor, but you'd have to be able to, yes, listen well, not just to music, but to people. I think you have to understand the dynamic in the room and understand the vision of your showrunner or of your director. And sometimes it's not just a singular vision. You have the studio or the network or the showrunner, executive producers, and sometimes there are many that have opinions and are weighing in. And they have, music is very subjective, very beautiful and personal to people. So they have their own sort of opinion on what it should be. So listening to music and being someone that can hopefully guide it in the right direction, but also listening to the people that are helping to create this project. It's not mine, it's theirs, and I'm trying to make their vision possible. So I feel like being a smart and open and creative person so that no one is off the table, so that everyone sort of feels welcome into this space is part of what I think makes a successful, I hope, music supervisor.
Yeah, no, I like that. Amanda, would you agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, I would echo that in the space I work in. When we're talking about producers and writers working with artists and creating songs that we hope are songs that we're able to put out into the world, you're also managing multiple people's visions. So you've got the label's vision. Within the label, you have A&R, you have marketing, and you have the CEO. Then you've got the artist's vision, the management vision, the producer's vision, the engineer who wants to put a little spice on something. So just navigating all of those people's, like you're saying, all the multiple parties, making sure everyone is heard and bridging all the communication gaps, because not all those parties are communicating directly. And I believe as a good manager, my role is to make sure all the parties are involved and informed and kept up to speed on what everybody else is doing. That can be from the creative standpoint, but also in terms of timelines, when the label is giving an artist a timeline that maybe isn't translated back to us through the artist. I need to know from the label, what are your expectations? When do you need this record delivered? And to help move things along. I think that's a huge part of it. And hearing everybody.
Right.
And then sort of helping everybody meet in the middle, really.
Yeah. And Amanda, just on that. So if you're looking at some new talent, a new artist, what are some qualities that you look for, I guess, apart from the music, if it's connecting with you?
Communication is number one. Responsiveness to emails or now text. Everyone communicates over text or phone calls. I understand that the creatives, generally speaking, may be like a notch less communicative than, an executive or someone whose job it is to keep the ship moving. But if you can't communicate and I can't rely on you to deliver things when you say you're going to, or if you disappear into a black hole for 2 weeks when we're in the middle of a project, no matter how talented you are, I cannot work with that. It's just not to anyone's benefit to be like that. So that is a huge thing I look for, is the ability to communicate and deliver on timelines, and also an open-mindedness to constructive criticism, to new types of projects, to new ways of approaching things. I think, at certain stages, people more, I think at the middle level of success feel, oh, well, I've earned the right to say no, or to just only do things my way and not be open to the way other people think to do. I find with the more successful people I work with, the more seasoned, they're the ones who are like much easier to work with and understand, and can just go with the flow a little bit better. And that just comes with experience. But if someone can go with the flow from the beginning, that's also, I think, a fantastic quality.
Yeah, that's a good tip, I think. Everyone get that out there? So Janet, what grabs your attention when you're looking for the right track to place in some vision?
Well, it's really project specific, I think. I have to have a perspective of my show if I'm listening for something. And so I can listen to something and then I just personally am drawn to it. Like I like it, right? If someone knows me well enough, they know, she's going to like something that is of a Joni Mitchell sound. That's just like a sweet spot for me. But that doesn't mean that I'm going to like anyone that sends me music that has beautiful female vocal. So I do think that a way to get my particular attention is to know what I am working on. And sometimes, very often actually, people will say, well, what is it you're working on? How am I supposed to know? And it's not really that difficult. I understand that there may not be like a personal immediate connection. You don't have my phone number or my email. You can't just ask me. But I really appreciate that when someone does reach out and there isn't a connection, that they've gone onto my IMDb, which is pretty updated, that they've gone on to see if there's any kind of maybe even panel like this where I discuss my projects, and they can come to me and know that what she's listening for right now is this. What's happening in her show right now is very female driven, like Motherland, Fort Salem. And so it starts to kind of guide the conversation. And to Amanda's point earlier, it just feels like they are communicating with me from an informed place, and that sparks my interest. So your music may be great, but I really want to know that if there's substance there. I'll tell you if it's not great also. Like, I'll tell you personally, it's not my cup of tea. I've done it only very rare occasions, but it just needed to be said.
Yeah. What are the words that you use when you're trying to tell someone that, it's not my cup of tea? It's like, is that how you say it?
No, my goodness, I don't think I've said something that's just flat out, I don't like this song in maybe 5 years. I don't need that. They don't need that, but it might have been that where they were pushing it on me quite strongly and it was a bit relentless. And I just said, I was like, I don't think that I'm the right audience for this.
Oh, yeah, that's very tactful. Amanda, how do you handle that? Because sometimes when you talked about constructive criticism or critique, I guess maybe is a nicer way to put it. There's that balance, isn't there? Because you're working with someone who it's their heart and soul and their craft. So
yeah, I mean, I deal with that on a daily. I deal with people who call their songs their song babies, literally. So if it's someone I know really, really well and I don't like it and they keep telling me, but this is the right song for this artist, and I'm just like, I love you, but I don't love this song. Or just to be very clear that it's not personal, because they take it so personally. Or if I'm really in tune with the project I'm pitching for, which is a lot of the time I am, it's my job to know what people want. And I know of something that maybe that's being cut that shows why that song isn't right for this particular project, I'll share it, or I'll tell them, go listen to this and you will see why this is not the right song for this project. Doesn't mean it's not a good song. And it might not have another home, because I do a lot of placement. Otherwise, I just say don't connect with the song, and that's the truth. I mean, it is subjective. And that's why I think, I don't know if we're like at the advice part, But I think as you are working with people and building teams, for me, I think it's so super important to have diverse teams and different perspectives, because we all hear things differently. So for me, having, different people to have different ideas and not it all be on me, because I could be wrong.
Yeah.
For sure.
Or your opinion could be different. Inevitably, it's going to be different to someone else's.
Yeah. I mean, I think I've through experience, I'm wrong less of the time, but that still doesn't mean I can't be wrong.
So Janet, what are some of the toughest challenges you've faced in your career? Are you willing to share with us?
Yes. Well, one of the toughest challenges, I think, is that when you're trying to satisfy someone who's got a very strong opinion about what they want, and then you have to talk about something with music and with emotion and why it means so much to them, and trying to make that happen. And that's sort of kind of like the day-to-day. You always sort of achieve. That's what you strive for. But when it's especially hard is when they change their mind with as much conviction as they said it to begin with. And so, yeah. So when you don't know what it is that you kind of want and you're open to ideas, then I think that being open and collaborative will help you discover. But to just constantly feel like, you're just very, very, very hard to please, and what you say you want, you realize you don't. We all are allowed to change our minds. I'm expecting that to a certain degree. It's just hard that if my job is to give something, a musical tone, and that keeps changes, and it's hard to kind of keep up with that. You have to. And that also adds to sort of like the experience under your belt and how to navigate certain situations better. So to avoid some of those pitfalls that you might have found yourself in at some points in your career. So I've learned from them, but they were hard.
Was there one situation in particular? Here I'm going digging now, which you felt like you didn't handle very well?
Where I didn't handle it well?
Yeah. We're talking about some of the biggest challenges and pitfalls. Sometimes the hardest lessons are the ones that we learn from the best. You can mention names, but
I think
I'm putting you on the spot now. I know.
I feel like maybe if I've been guilty of something where I didn't handle it right, it might have been where I got maybe a little bit too comfortable too soon, and I assumed, and I shouldn't assume, right?
Fair enough.
So if I was not pointing a finger at anybody, but if I'm supposed to point it at somebody and point it at myself, that maybe, I shouldn't have jumped to a conclusion as quickly as I did, maybe.
Yeah, we've all done that. Oh my gosh, I've done it heaps. I could write a whole book on that. Amanda, how about you? Some juicy mistakes you want to share with us?
Mistakes. I mean, one mistake I made involving what ended up being a loss of money was being too scared to ruffle the waters of a pre-existing relationship that I was new to. And so allowing somebody else on the team to dictate how we handled something, even though I viscerally disagreed with it, but felt it wasn't my place to, voice my opinion at that time because I was new-ish. I really regret that. It was a mistake. Even if I had just voiced it more loudly and the client still didn't, it still didn't happen the way I wanted it to, at least I would have, I wish I would have spoken up more about this particular situation. And that's something I carry with me and always, encourage everyone to speak up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm sure you're not alone.
Confident in what you think is the right way to deal with something.
Yeah, absolutely. You're not alone in that one. And that just takes experience, doesn't it? It's all learning. So I think, for anyone out there, if you do any kind of like F ups, it's gosh, we're not perfect, we're human and we're actually learning. It doesn't mean that you have to discount yourself now for the rest of your career, but let's just surge ahead, right? Here's the sticky question, Amanda. If you were male, do you think the whole situation could have been different?
Yeah, because my testosterone would have told me to tell everyone to shut the fuck up, and I would have said what I wanted to say. But I'm genetically inclined to be a little bit more diplomatic.
Yeah, New Yorkers are quite straightforward,
And
though.
I'm very straightforward, yeah. And I don't make I don't continue to not be vocal. And I know my team is listening in on this call laughing at me right now. But I do think men perceive men differently than the men perceive women, with the exception of some men who realize and perceive women as the superior. As Pharrell says, he always says, everyone who works for him is a woman. He surrounds himself with women in the workplace, and he talks about that a lot. I think most of the situations I'm in, I am the only woman, and I'm not a woman who like bros out just to be like part of the crew. Like, I'm a woman who stays true to herself. And I think sometimes that does affect the way you're perceived.
Yeah,
I
how
wish
about
it wasn't the case, but it is. And so you just have to figure out how to navigate around that.
yeah, absolutely agree. Janet, yeah, go for it. You want to
There's something that what you're saying is reminding me of this really good piece of advice that I got from a man that I respect very much. I was scared to death that I was going to screw up because I wanted it so bad. I wanted to work and be a music supervisor and impress everybody with my music supervision skills, and they were very new. Like they were like 4 months old. And I was just basically so tentative about anything that I wanted to say. And he said, "You're part of this team, and what you have to say is valid. So say it. You are part of this team, and it's yours to lose. So don't fumble it for yourself. It is yours, and your opinion matters. So go and own it." And damn it, if that didn't stick with me. I feel like, no, I'm in the room and I've earned my place. And this is what I think. And we can have a conversation. What I do like very much about women in media, in music, and what I very much appreciate is the ability to have a voice and to have an opportunity to defend it, or rather even sometimes enforce it. Like, no, wait, I'm speaking. So I do think that there's a great deal of power that I have found in being given permission to have an opinion. It's served me well.
No, I love that. And I always think that we don't need to lose our femininity or our womanhood because we're trying to be heard. I think there's a lot of power in really connecting with your womanness. And I love that you got nurtured in that situation, Janet, and all of our hats go off to this guy, whoever he is. I don't know if you want to know.
Bloom.
What's his name?
PJ Bloom. It was PJ.
Yeah. Thank you, PJ. So Amanda, you do a lot of mentoring for people out there who are trying to get a foothold in the industry. Are there any recurring questions or themes that continually rise to the surface when you're doing your work with these people?
I think one of the recurring themes, although I think it's more just reflective of where the industry is as a whole, and it's not a male-female thing at all, because I mentor, all genders and everybody, is not really like knowing when they're negotiating certain things for their clients what the standard is. And I think part of that has to do with the standard for deal terms constantly changing, and also just there not being like a lot of transparency about deals, whether it's a label deal, a publishing deal, a sync fee where someone might go in with lower because they know they can get it lower, an executive contract. There's not a lot of knowledge out there, like when people are going after things, to know how to compare it. And that comes up a lot. And that's something I can help with just from experience, having done a lot of deals. I think there's also a lot of fear from younger people who are ambitious of feeling like they're being too pushy if there's opportunities that they're following up on too much, too little, at the wrong time, like, and just there's just a lot of fear and putting all the weight on sort of, I'm not sure I'm explaining this right, but when people are going into things, not really always understanding their value and what they bring to a potential deal or job opportunity or what have you, and how, well, yes, you might be looking for a job, for example, like they might really need you for a skill you have that they can't get anybody else for, and just understanding your value in different negotiations, or your client's value when you're negotiating a deal for your client.
Yeah, I get it. And when you're new to the business, and when you're new to the business, you're not sure, like, where do I stand my ground and where do I give way? Yeah, and then potentially that's where that fear comes in. Am I going to lose my value myself? Yeah.
The fear doesn't go away. And on the flip side, I would say believing you're more valuable than you are when you have no experience, and coming in like charging like that is also not.
Oh yeah, that's equally as fun.
Style. Yeah.
Yeah, we've had a lot of fun with things like that. So I have a question for you as well, Amanda. Dua Lipa said in a very recent interview, actually last week it came out, she said that women need to work a little bit harder if they want to be taken seriously in the music industry. It's the artist perspective, of course, but do you agree?
So I have been told that there's a music executive who said the same thing on a panel to a room of, I assume, many young female executives. I don't think that's a really complicated question. I think everyone needs to work hard. I think we're lucky to be working in this industry. And if you really want to stay in it and be respected, and you need to work hard. I think you need to work smart, smarter than harder, not a novel concept. It's said a lot. And I think I don't think you have to run yourself into the ground to be successful. So it's not that I don't think you have to work hard, but I know there's different schools of thoughts. I can't remember what label it was where the tone that was set was like, it may even be Bloomberg, actually. I don't know who it is, some famous person, like their style is like you just literally outwork your competitor. And that's fine. And that might help you succeed in your career in the short term and possibly the long term, but that will not help you in your life as a whole. So I don't have a direct answer to that, except to say that I think you need to figure out what works for you. And yes, you should always be working hard. You should be ethical. You should be, with good intentions and putting in the time. But I don't know. I don't know if you need to be missing other important things in your life to succeed. I mean, I have been able to build a life where I pick my son up at 5 every day from school. And I've worked really hard to be able to do that. And I work hard when he goes to sleep, but I still get him from school.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm sure he loves it. Yeah.
So do I. And it's great. And you know what? It resets me for work that I have to do later, frankly. Like it's just good to have a balance. I don't know. I'm rambling now. What are you doing, Janet?
We love rambling. So Janet, what do you think? Do women have to work harder, or is it just a matter of just work hard and answer your emails, people?
Yeah, everyone should answer their emails.
I think that women have to work hard, but not because that's the expectation. I feel that, similar to Amanda, we should all work hard. We should all pull our weight, and we should all be proud of the work we do. So there should be heart and commitment and devotion. And I don't think that you can do those things without busting your ass. Yeah. So you have to, I think, believe in it. And that's part of how you really push yourself to excel. I do think, though, that sometimes the question that you're asking can be construed in that women have to work harder than men. And to some degree, I do think that there's truth to that, because I work very, very hard, and I have for my whole life, since before I had a job in music. But this has been my career path and my goal. So I work with all of my heart in this. I do think that as a mother as well, because I am a mother, or because I am also a daughter, a sister, a granddaughter, that I have a relationship and an obligation to others as well, and that I can't falter in those as a person, which means that I have to really, really, really show how much I work, so that I'm not seen as, oh, she's a part-time person. It's like, no, I am a full-time, devoted person, a career woman. I also have this other part of me that requires a lot of love and attention as well. And men, I love you guys. But that is being dispelled a lot more now. I think men have broadened their horizons and realized, no, this isn't a gender role. This is part of a role to exist as a parent, or to exist as a person in someone's life. But it used to kind of be, an expectation for a woman to kind of like work and keep her home and keep her husband and do all of these things. And a man just had to like bring home the bacon. And now we're both bringing home the bacon, and you're going to help me raise this house.
Yeah.
That's the world I'm in.
That's beautiful, Janet. I love that it's the holistic view of how you're approaching your life. It's work, it's your personal life, all of it. You're becoming a full person everywhere. Yeah, that's a really good thought. And to everyone out there, we're not here to bash any gender or you do anything like that, because I mean, we love guys. I love guys. I've always loved guys, but now I love one guy. I married him, and I got 2 little guys.
I was going to say, you love at least 3 guys.
I love that. And
I do. Like different ways.
Good men, especially. My goodness, it's hard to be a good man. I love you guys. I love them.
Yeah. So all you men out there, we love you. Okay, there you go. How about if we look on the kind of funny side? Have there been any comical moments in your careers?
Comical moments.
Yes, funny moments.
Fun moments. I don't know if they're comical.
I'll settle for fun.
I don't know. I've spent some time with Ludacris in Atlanta, and I can tell you.
It was Ludacris?
What?
It was a ludicrous time with Ludacris?
With Ludacris in his hometown, doing what rappers do in Atlanta.
So can you expand on that for us, Amanda? What do rappers do in Atlanta?
You don't want me to expand on that. He's a really nice guy, but he's also really he's a really fun guy.
Okay, we'll settle for fun. That's fine. I was hoping you might do.
It's fun to be with someone like that in their hometown when you're young. And this was a long time ago, when you're early in your career, and it's one of the biggest people you've worked with, and you're a super fan. It's really fun. I remember when we signed Ludacris and we went to Atlanta to celebrate, and all the things we did. That was a fun milestone for me at that time.
Okay. You can't just share one fun thing?
I don't know. I didn't go to any strip clubs, if that's what you're asking me. That is what rappers do in Atlanta.
Okay, but I'll take that. Janet, any fun moments, or the most fun project you've worked on, perhaps?
Oh, those are, yeah. Well, fun project that I can go there right away. But I worked on Banshee, which was incredibly fun. Diary of a Future President, which I'm doing right now. And in 2 days, with the help of a great music producer who works internally for CBS, Tom Polche, and our showrunner, we created a musical in 2 weeks, which over 2 episodes. And it's not grand or anything, but it's hard. It's hard, and there's spoken and sung, but it's great. And this show has so many worthy qualities that we can talk about in a later portion of this if we want. But it's very empowering, and it's very cool, and it's a fun part of my day to work on things like that matter to me. So it's very fun to that degree, to that regard. But the other fun thing that I was going to say that's more on a kind of embarrassing time was I want to say I was 25. And it was my first holiday party in the music industry. And we can pop bottles like no one else. Parties in the music industry are fun, okay? And not that it has to involve drinking, but they're just a good time generally. This one involved drinking. And we were out, and we left our keys, and we had to get a taxi. It was before Uber and stuff. I had to get a car to come get us. And I was trying to get a cab, and I could barely do it. But my friend said, "Janet, here, take this and just put it in your bra." And I'm like, "What?" And she's just take this and put it in your bra. And I'm like, "Okay." And I'm just drunk, and I'm trying to get home. So I get home, I'm in the car, and I stumble in, and I basically passed out in my clothes, right? The next day I wake up, and I'm trying to get ready for work, and I'm just a mess. So I'm taking off my clothes, and I realize, oh crap, I don't have my car. So I have to get a taxi to get to work or get to the place where my car is before I can, now I'm thinking straight. And I'm getting ready, and her phone number pops out of my bra. And I'm like, I don't have keys. I didn't even have a cell phone. I had a landline. So I called, and I was like, "Hello?" And she's like, "Janet?" And I'm like, "Letty." And she says, "Okay, I'll be right over."
Aw, that's so sweet.
I love it because I think it's very appropriate for the power of women in music, because she is a very powerful woman, has always been, but also now professionally as well. She's working with a really good publisher, but she came to my rescue that day, and I think when we refer to that story, both just laugh out loud, because she could just see into the future and knew that I was going to need a hand the next day.
And there you go. So bras are much better for more than just holding up your breasts.
They're also your girlfriend's phone number for the next morning.
That is the true example of the power of women.
You were very resourceful.
Thank you.
So we have to get to a few questions in just a sec. But the last question I want to ask from both of you, your maybe your most relevant insider tips for young women or men who are trying to make it through the industry. Any last thoughts here?
Perseverance, self-belief, be humble, and network while you still have the energy. Although it's a different time now. So you can't go out and network, but there was definitely a time where, you know, and that time will come back.
Yeah, it certainly will. So
It will.
Hold on, guys. It's coming back.
Yeah.
But be safe right now.
Yeah, that's not now, but yes.
Okay. Janet, any last tips?
I agree with Amanda, and I would say that in addition, I would ask that you learn from your mistakes and that you try to strive to be a good listener, that you take yourself seriously, because it'll be much harder to quit or to give up if you really have real conviction about what it is that you're doing and why you go to work every day. And I think it'll make you better at what you do if you really take it that seriously, or take it to heart in that way. And I think there's opportunity costs for what you do, as you were saying, as we were discussing earlier, that I am not doing that because I'm doing this. And that opportunity cost is real. So you better be investing in yourself wisely and treating yourself seriously, and learning from what kind of how you've grown in this profession, whatever it is that you're doing.
Very nice. Such a perfect time to go to some questions. Okay, what do we have here? So from Facebook, we have someone called Slim Trim. I love it. The question is there diversity in the music supervision field? Have you both in your careers seen women of color thrive in this field? Guys, what do you think?
I'd say yes, there is diversity in terms of men versus women, or women versus men. I do feel that diversifying in terms of cultural background and putting people of color in positions like music supervision or other areas in music, that still has a way to go. I do feel that there is still a minority when it comes to people of color, no matter really your background. And I would love to see that change. And I think it is changing. I think that people are recognizing how lacking it is in that way. And so I do feel confident that it's changing, but I don't think that we should be complacent about it. Just because it's fashionable to be discussing right now, it's still extremely important, and it should be taken, seriously. And I do think that as part of that change, employment opportunities, big and small, are opening themselves up to kind of diversifying the look of a company as much as just the gender associated to.
Amanda?
Yeah, I think I can't speak to music supervision, but I think there's specifically at a higher level, I see diversity in people of color across the very powerful male managers. I don't see it as much at the lower level, and I don't see as many powerful female managers. And for the powerful female managers out there, I do think it very much lacks diversity in people of color and minorities. And I think that's something we all have to work on and sort of make sure we're providing as managers or publishers or whatever, we're providing opportunities and examples and open doors. Because again, I think the more the diverse we are at the executive level, the better we can serve all of our clients, whether it's a film studio or a label or producer client or whatnot. I think we have a ways to go.
Okay.
From where I sit.
Yeah, fair enough. Thank you. From Zoom, Cherie Yell, question: does being a hardworking, passionately ambitious woman ever become an obstacle in your marriage or relationship?
It hasn't for me, but being a mother has.
Can you repeat that just again, Victoria?
Yeah. Does being a hardworking, passionately ambitious woman ever become an obstacle in your marriage or relationship?
No.
Yeah.
No, because the man I married knows that I'm a passionate and ambitious woman.
Same.
So, yeah. And like Amanda, I think there are things that you discover in your relationship once you're married and once you've decided and bet on each other, that there's a growing family factor. So like our son and us sort of learning the ropes together, that's a bit of a challenge. Not in a manner that points fingers, but just us discovering, what do we do? He learned how to walk, type stuff, or he's hungry.
Or like you approach parenting different. That's much more of a challenge for me personally, the way we approach how we parent then I need to work this late or be in this, whatever it is, travel, whatever. That hasn't been an issue for me at all.
Yeah.
Except for sometimes when clients call at like 3:00 in the morning.
Oh, that's tough.
But I turn my phone off now. That was more early in our relationship when I was like, I know how to set boundaries now.
Good. Well, I mean, there's something to be said here too, that, when you're in that first dating kind of season of happiness, don't hide what you are, step into the relationship as you are, because, the other person hopefully will like that. And if they don't, then you're not maybe a good connection, huh? Maybe.
Totally.
Yeah. All right. Beautiful. Good question. From Facebook. Here we go. Actually, let's go to Zoom. From Isabel, do you look at our followers and how well the music has done on streaming platforms, or can a newbie like me just go around pitching from the start? As a woman, I feel confident, excited, and terrified at the same time. Welcome to the club.
Welcome.
Yeah. So do you look at our followers? Oh yeah, I guess would you look at Isabel's followers, for instance, and how well the music is done on streaming platforms?
So I'm seeing the beginning of her question says she's launching her own company, label and publishing company. I have a mixed bag of music. So what I'm taking on clients, which I'm not really, I don't actually look at that. Like I might, but I think unique in that sense. And I think it doesn't apply for a label signing an artist or a publisher signing someone. Numbers and data do matter a lot. For me, it's how I connect with the person and the music. I just approach management differently. If you're pitching yourself to be signed to a label or a publisher, or maybe to a bigger management company, because I'm pretty, I'm a small sort of independent type of thing, then yes, they'll, for the most part, want to see a lot of data points. I think.
Yeah.
At the corporate level, at least. I
agree. I don't think that for music supervision, I would even go there. I'd really kind of keep it to the music and just listen. And if it works for the scene, great. I'm not interested in trying to rationalize why that is from a follower's point of view, or from like that sort of popularity factor. But I do refer to it if I'm trying to make some sort of connection with the plot. So if in the story someone's performing or someone's commenting on someone, and it's like, oh, have you heard this? This is like really kind of bubbling underground and it's part of the plot, then it becomes relevant. So it sort of calls, I again have to listen with my show as my perspective. most of the time. But if I'm just listening, I'm just trying to absorb your song, then no, don't be terrified. You have a fair shot.
There you go. Oh, that's really nice to know. Thank you. Okay, from Zoom again, Patricia Kingham. Is there a place for a feminist song these days? Not one that bashed men, but one that strives for recognition and equality.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah, please, forever keep making them.
What I was going to say was, is, and will be. I can name 5 artists looking for those songs right now. Yeah.
Oh, really? And what are some staples besides "I Am Woman, Hear Me Roar"? Any other?
Well, I have to say, I listen to Lady Gaga's "Free Woman" like every day at the gym, because first of all, her music is great to work out to from a pure, even if there are no lyrics in it. But that is like I don't think it was like a single off her last album, or I don't know that that's like a highlighted song in her career, but that is a feminist song as you're going to get. And I can literally listen to it every day.
Nice. Janet, do you have any women
So.
anthems?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's
Stacks,
a song called WOMAN, Woman, by Peggy Lee. It's amazing. Go there. Start there. And then just work your way forward or backward or however you'd like to go. I mean, Beyonce's Girls. Yeah. There's just, I think, always a time and place, and there should always continue to be.
Yeah. Ooh, yeah. Girls Run the World. Another great workout song.
Yeah.
All girls running in the world. Yeah, very nice. Thank you, Patricia. So there you go. Go and write heaps of songs there that uphold and celebrate women. Okay, from Zoom, Becky Pearson. As a long-time businesswoman who understands the challenge of being heard in a room full of men, do you have a favorite way of being heard in the room?
I like that question.
That's great.
Good job, Becky. I feel like this is going to sound oversimplified, like I'm simplifying it, but I mean it. You would address it completely the way you would address this conversation right now. A room full of women, a room full of men. You need to be yourself and tell them what it is that you're thinking. If there is an unfair or unequal, or if there's a vibe in the room that's being set, it's not coming from you. It is coming from them, and you are being a strong and confident, and I think like valid voice. So speak and go with it. Don't take them into consideration and try to be what they want you to sound like. Just be how you sound, and that should be received.
Yeah, love it. What about you, Amanda?
Yeah, I don't really have anything to add to that. Just be yourself.
Yeah.
Don't be louder, don't be quieter. Just like,
right.
Yeah. However you speak.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, because I think that does actually happen to us, especially maybe when we're feeling a little bit insecure, or we're entering into a situation that we've never encountered before. So, we might be looking at what is everyone else wearing, or how should I dress? And, if I speak up, am I going to be seen as this or that, So I think really good words.
Well, yeah, I will say, and of the 3 million Zooms I've done over COVID, I've probably worn a hoodie for 2.99 million of them, because I put this on for you guys, but like, we're all home in our sweats. I've seen men go to work in sweatsuits, literally. Like, exactly. Like, be who you are and be confident in that. I'm not wearing shoes right now. I also have soy sauce on my dress, but I'm just like, I've been on so many high level Zooms where I'm just like, I don't change how I look that day, you have to look presentable, obviously, but like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah, just be yourself.
Love it. Yeah, Janet?
I agree. There are times, I think being presentable and looking, however it is that you feel
Good.
most confident in, most comfortable in. I mean, not to make this about fashion, I had something that I changed into was a dress, and I didn't change out of it because it was a dress. I changed out of it because I'd be cold. It's just the practicality of like me putting on a sweater for this. And I'm not any less of a woman. I'm not any less prepared. I'm just actually much warmer. So it really is. And you know what I think is also happening is that when I'm in a meeting, let's say I'm meeting for a new show, for someone who doesn't know me or doesn't know what I look like, I think that level of confidence and self-assurance in one's own, like they're just comfortable in their own skin, does come through even on Zoom. So I'm not dressing for the occasion. There's sometimes occasions that deserve maybe, a black tie affair. I'm not saying that those don't exist. I'm just saying that if I'm going to ready myself for something, then I'm readying myself in the way that I think is best. And it rarely involves a corset.
Yeah, we don't have any more of those, thank God. I'd struggle. Oh my gosh. Okay, we've got time for one more. This one's from Facebook from Maya Sarin. Hi, Maya. What moment in your career are you most proud of?
I could take it first.
Please.
So I work with somebody named Mick Schultz, who's a producer who when I was at 2 different publishing companies, tried to sign him for publishing deals. The companies could not get behind it for whatever reason. They didn't have the vision I had. I chose to pursue him as a management client after he signed somewhere else, knowing that he didn't have a manager. I had heard a song he did that I just thought, he had success before we met, but it was a song that was unreleased that I just thought was outstanding. And I just heard something special about that. We started working together. About 2 years into that relationship, that song, the track from that song, not the full song, became what would be Desperado on Rihanna's album, which is currently having some crazy moment on TikTok. I cannot speak to how or why, but now that song's become like the most streamed song on her Anti album. And that's the song, the track that like made me want to pick him up as a client and really, and who he was as a person, but really not much else. Not that he had success before, not who he was in the room with. It was like, I just heard this special thing, and I'm proud that I recognize that.
Yeah, see, good ears.
And he's a great guy, and we've got a great working relationship. So
nice.
Beautiful. Janet?
I'll point to one that for all these different reasons, I just loved kind of every step about it. So one of the filmmakers that I've loved collaborating with the most is Greg Yatenis. He is smart. He is creative. He's a visionary. He trusts his team. He is extremely considerate, and he's open. So he came to me to help with a ad campaign for a product called Cosas, and it's a cosmetic brand. And I know the CEO of that company, Sheena, met through him, of course, and we were just talking about music. We wanted to know musically how we wanted to champion this product and how we wanted to run that campaign through a song that was going to be original, and the artist was going to be a part of the campaign itself. And so he wanted an original song created. He wanted a certain sound behind it. She as well, Sheena, of course, that was kind of her vision for it. And I approached a trusted producer and friend, Heather Hawley, who's amazing, who works with Christina Aguilera and many others. And her and Stefan, whose last name is German and it shouldn't be as hard for me to say, but it's like Broderick or Brederick. I love very much Stefan. But Heather and Stefan put together this song with an artist named Tate. And Tate is amazing. She's one of a kind. She's beautiful and she's smart and she's very talented. She happens to be someone that works closely with Heather. And Heather asked if she'd be interested in this. And right away, I was like, this is a personality that we need. I introduced her to Sheena and Greg, and they came up with this song for the ad that turned into its anthem, basically. And when you see the ad, you see like how it was originally sort of intended. And then they've created all of these splinter ads from it, and the song still plays as its anthem. And it's great because so many people that are a fan of Cosas as a brand have also been inspired by the song. And they're doing stuff, I think, on TikTok, and then they're doing, there have been like dancers, and they're talking about sort of like their craft, or different people with different professions. I think a boxer, a drummer, and they all ask them like why it is that you kind of do what you do. And the product is simple. It's a lip balm. It's called Cosa Sport. But I think the care that was put into it from the beginning to its delivery is still felt. And it's a great product. So I'm proud of like wearing Cosas, but I really, really loved how creatively and how organically it came together. And it wasn't easy. It was hard. I mean, creating a song out of thin air is not easy, especially when it's supposed to be marketing something. But it all happened with a lot of just careful care. I loved it.
Wonderful. And on that note, we have come to the end of another happy hour. Thank you, Janet and Amanda. You're both amazing. Great questions. Cheers. I love it. So fantastic insights from both of you. Hopefully you guys out there that you picked up something from there. We hope you found the whole thing very valuable. You can view the full session on YouTube tomorrow, and leave a comment to let us know what you'd like to see on these happy hours. We're taking a break Thanksgiving week, so only one show left for 2020. Can you believe it? And that's coming up December 10. On that episode, we'll be joined by artists who are making great use of live streaming tech, and we'll find out how they're connecting with their online fans. We might even get a couple of special holiday song performances. We're trying. Details soon. Be kind to each other. See you December 10 for our last happy hour of the year. Cheers, everyone. Bye.
Cheers. Salud.